and welcome to the Questionnaires podcast, where each week we source the best questions from Yahoo Answers and attempt to provide the best advice from.
When the singer Sting dies, will he be called Stung?
To.
If Jane Bond is the most well-known spy ever, doesn't that mean he's the worst spy?
We're here to prove that every question deserves an answer. Joining me this week, as always, is Marcus.
Hello, Tom.
And Damien.
Hello, Tom. Back in the great indoors,
So
unfortunately.
We are both, all three of us are on Skype at the moment. The only difference is we're trying to record things a bit differently. Hopefully the audio quality will be a bit better. There is a delay, but we will try and compensate with that with the raising the hand when you want to talk situation, boys. Now, are we aware of the rules here? Marcus has raised his hand.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for the rules. Look, this has been fun. Like, this whole COVID-19 sort of stuff that's going on right now has put a real damper on our lifestyles. But the podcast had to keep going, and I feel like we got this.
It is essential.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually something I wanted to pitch to you guys, considering like we of course, we're part of the royal family and we have to lead by example. And I wanted to do something that would communicate to our peasants that we are making, the right strides to, show that we're living our best lives during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I want to throw this at you guys. I was thinking that we rework our royal titles to reflect the recent times.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw them at you. Let me see what you think. So from now on, queens will be known as quarantine queens.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. All right.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
Good. Kings will be known as clean kings.
Yeah.
Clean Kings.
Does that sound right to you? Originally, I was going to do a plan of words with like, do you know the cleaning product line White King?
Oh, yeah.
But
but then I realized that sounds it sounds super racist.
I realised
if that was
yeah.
the
White
titles.
supremacy.
White
Yeah.
King is actually borderline racist sounding, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And last off but not least, for our princes and princesses out there, they will now be known as fresh princes and fresh princesses.
Oh,
How does that
very
sound?
good.
That sounds good.
Very
Yeah. I like
that.
this,
Alright,
Damon.
good.
I like this, Damon. Hey, how have you guys been finding this whole quarantine sort of stuff? Have you guys been like living your best life at home? Have you been going out?
Have you been going
Have
out?
you been going out and not maintaining a safe distance from people?
Not that, but like, when you go to the shops, like how have your interactions been like in and out sort of thing? Like, have you found anything weird?
I've been making sure that I'm keeping distance from like random strangers much more. Like if you're walking into the shops and someone else is trying to walk in at the same time, I will stop and give them ample space to walk through. And basically every line that I'm in now is like an ATM line. When you're lining up and you want to give a lot of space to prove that you're not like looking at their PIN number, that is every line in life now.
You don't want to cough on the back of someone's shoulder, and you don't want that cough on the back of your shoulder either.
Yeah,
you're definitely
it's basically just saying that like I'm keeping my distance, bro. Don't worry, I'm not going to get you sick.
Yeah, exactly. I recently went to the service station or the gas station, petrol station, and I was like, as I was filling up the tank, I was thinking to myself, fuck, I'm gonna have all these germs all over my hands now. Like, I was freaking out. I'm like, I don't have any alcohol in my car, and I got another hour-long drive. I was like, what the fuck? But I get to the counter, and there was this alcohol like bottle there, like a sanitizer bottle there. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey man, can I put this on? He goes, yeah, that's what it's there for. I'm like, sweet. So I did that. I was like, oh, this is the best thing ever. I was so happy with it. I was like, my life is complete. I can get in my car, no germs. I'm sweet. Too bad that this flavor of alcohol sanitizer smelled like bubblegum. And for the rest of the night, I knew I had hand sanitizer bubblegum all over me. I was just like, I was going to sleep. I was like, oh my God, I still smell that bubblegum. It was the worst.
Then what you should have done is just like poured some like petrol on your hands and just lit your hands on fire. That'll kill the germs nice and easy.
That would have been better, yeah. Damien?
I've just been working on my screenplay for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it's H-E-I-R in my spare time. But yeah, I mean, similar situations to you guys. I feel like there is so much COVID-19 nonsense going around that I'm like done just talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was telling Tom earlier that I think like I woke up in the morning, opened my Twitter account, and the top headline was like COVID-19 exceeding expectations in its spread, like it's in how it's spreading. I'm like, okay, that's enough news for today, and just got out of Twitter. I'm like, ignorance is bliss now.
And then you got out of bed, you were ready to get like, that's it. The day of news is done. I don't need this shit.
I went straight back to bed.
Usually doom and gloom, you have to sort of wait a couple of hours before you get across a doom and gloom article, but to get it straight away when you wake up, it's like it's not reassuring for the day. But
no, it's
either
not.
way,
but anyway,
we're trying to move on and we're trying to get through things, and we're going to try and keep things as much normality, I guess, in our lives as we can. And one of those normal things is doing this podcast, which we do each and every week.
Yeah, let's have some fun, baby. Let's just laugh.
Let's just enjoy it, all right? So the way the podcast works is we choose questions from the website Yahoo Answers, and we try to provide some advice to these people to help them on their way. The other thing we do is we choose a theme for each week to name the question askers, and it's Damien's theme this week.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Despite the amount of free time I've got at home, I forgot to think of a theme. So I've got a random word generator up.
Yep.
And I'm just going to hit it for you guys, whoever wants to volunteer, and I'm going to tell you what the word is.
Wow. Okay. Go for it. I think, Tom, you want to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah, give me the word.
Your word is government.
Okay. So this is coming from the government. Is that what you're saying?
Look. Throughout all of this like COVID-19 stuff, that they've got time to ask questions on Yahoo Answers. They just had that.
That's right. This question is coming from the government.
All right, fine. This is coming from the government. So the government writes, what would you do if you noticed a stranger taking photos of you from their phone? My friend and I noticed these two girls taking photos of us from about 20 feet away at school yesterday, and it kind of pissed me off because they were laughing and they appeared to be making fun of us for some reason. I was too scared to confront them, so I just stared them down to let them know I was aware of what they were doing. Next opportunity we get, I want to do the same thing to them, but make the phone more obvious and laugh loudly to mock them. What would you have done? Or if you've been in a situation like this, what did you do? The government.
Oh.
Sounds like the government was in control of those phones, taking the pictures, to be honest. But
That's true.
I do have something. I have something that happened to me recently where I went to a musical. And the person in front of me happened to be the tallest person in the world. Like, I think Shaquille O'Neal was sitting in front of me while I was trying to watch it.
They always are, aren't they?
And I mentioned it to my friends in a group chat. And then one of my friends said, take a picture of the back of their head. I want to see it. And I was like, no, I don't feel comfortable. But then I was like, okay, I was kind of egged on. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. And even then I was like trying to maneuver in a way where nobody could see what my phone was doing. Just like trying to get a quick sneak peek of the back of this guy's head. But I felt like I was committing a crime. It didn't feel right.
But then you realized the flash was on and everybody knew what you were doing as soon as you did that.
Yes, Shrek the musical came to a grinding halt when my flash went off.
Shrek stopped and called it out as it happened.
That's right. Dropped a hottie on my head.
He dropped this.
I was going to say, what were you worried about? The guy didn't have like eyes in the back of his head, so how would he know?
The thing, I don't know. I always think about it if I was in that situation. I always think about what would happen if someone was taking a picture of me and how would I feel. And here is something that happened to one of our friends recently. She colors her hair green, and just by chance, somebody had taken a picture of her in the city and wrote a caption that said something like, "OMG, is that Billie Eilish?" Like as a joke, right?
Okay.
And we would have never have seen this, but just by chance, one of our friends. Like a friend of a friend happened to see this on social media and then shared it to us and like, oh my God, is this you? And it happened to be our friend who had just been like snapped by a random person out in the wild.
Whoa.
As a Billie Eilish doppelganger.
See, but my question I got to ask is, how many photos do you think we are actually in the world? Like of people like just like randomly like, hey, look, check out this guy. Like he looks exactly like, you know, Bob down the street. I'm going to take a photo and show Bob. Like, I'm sure it happens a lot, and especially at the back of his head. I don't think this person cares. I know I wouldn't care.
Well, they don't know, so they don't care.
I feel like you're right, but I feel like if I'm sitting in front of like someone and I'm blocking their view and they took a photo of my fat head and said, look at this bozo in his head, I don't care. I've got the better view of the thing. I don't really care that you've taken a photo, and like I think it's funny. I would do the same, and therefore I don't have a problem with it happening to me.
What about you, Tom?
I wouldn't mind.
As a man who's behind the camera a lot.
Yeah, look, I find that like I wouldn't care if I was in the back of a photo like that. If someone was taking a photo of the back of my head, big deal. It doesn't really bother me. I find these days there's a lot of, at least in my line of work in education, and the kids are crazy on TikTok. They're TikToking like there's no tomorrow. And often you'll just be walking through an area and you'll stumble into the middle of a TikTok. You found yourself in the middle of a in Tik and Talk.
You are in TikTok territory right there.
Yeah, exactly. TikTok territory. Exactly.
TTT.
So like, that happens, and then if anything, it's usually more embarrassing for them because they're dancing. If I'm in the background of videos, so be it. It doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, as long as it's not someone, I guess you have to maybe accept the fact that someone might have taken a photo of you once on the train and been like, look at this bozo's haircut. But you hope that you'd never actually witness it like I guess your friend did, Damien.
When you've accidentally ended up in these TikToks, have they been like, oh, Mr. T, get out of the shot? Like, have they told you off for, ruining the TikTok? Or?
I know, I start dancing. Exactly. I know all the moves. So
I don't think he's ruining any TikTok. I think he's making any of those TikToks 100 times better.
Cameo. It's a cameo. It's like when
it's true.
When John Stamos like just enters in the room.
Yeah, and then everybody just claps and applauds. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
so,
Marcus,
you get the reference.
Tom might not know this, but I've always said this about Tom: is that the camera just doesn't just love Tom; it wants to get him pregnant. I've always said that about him.
Yeah, it wants to impregnate you. It's hunting
lovely.
you down, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever taken a photo of someone in public? Because that's what I really wanted to ask you guys. Have you ever seen someone?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just gonna say I have done this. I've been drunk on a train before. And I've noticed other drunk people on said train, and I thought they looked funny. I didn't take it like obvious. I wasn't like, hey, I'm going to take a photo of you. I'm going to put the camera on in the face. It was the old sneakily on the side, and I took a photo of them. And then I showed my friends, and they all criticized me for taking a photo of someone drunk on the train. I'm like, but I was drunk on the train. Isn't that okay? If I wasn't like, it wasn't like an upskirt or anything like that. It wasn't bad photos like that. It was more of a case of just like, hey, this person is drunk as I am. Let's take a photo. Like they're falling asleep on someone else. I'm going to take a photo. It's funny.
I love Marcus's logic of like, if I'm a murderer and murder another murderer, it's okay because we're the same. That's your logic that you just used.
Right? It's okay. We're all murderers.
The other murderer knows the game. He knows that everybody's the target.
Yeah.
And so he was the target.
We should look out for each other.
Have you not seen Dexter?
What happened?
I would say in that situation, I probably agree with your friends, but your judgment was impaired.
Yep.
And you weren't... Look, I guess the thing is, whenever you take a photo of someone in public, it's never like, oh my God, how good does their hair look? Or I love their outfit. It always has a touch of malice to it. It's like, oh, look at this weirdo, or look at this dum-dum, or look at this weird thing this person's doing. And that's why it's a bad thing, I would say.
But let's...
Marcus,
I was just going to
The
say...
hand is up, Marcus. Respect the hand. Respect the hand.
Sorry.
What we always do, or like we have this joke with my friendship group from school, is that anytime you see anyone out in public wearing a James Bogues beanie, which James Bogues is a beer brand, there's like a beanie that they have that they were giving out. It's like free merchandise when you buy a slab of James Bogues. Anytime you see someone with a Bogues beanie, you take a photo of it and you upload it to the group. And it surprisingly happens a lot, especially around winter time, obviously.
Really?
Surprisingly, I've got a back catalogue of a whole bunch of Bogues beanie photos.
Can I ask what is the group's fixation with the Bogues beanie?
Well, where it started was, I think we used to do like pub trivia, and we once won the Bogues beanie as like a prize in pub trivia. And then I think it stemmed from there. And then we saw someone like, hey, look, it's the Bogues beanie. And then it just kept happening.
Then you got a bunch of Beanie Brothers.
Yeah, the Beanie Brothers.
Walking around Melbourne.
We invite them to join us. Like,
is it still going on? Like, do you still see it? Like, when's the last time you received the photo?
I reckon I probably haven't seen one or received one for maybe like 9 months or so. But that's, to be fair, winter has like disappeared. Winter's going to come back, Marcus. The Bogues beanie will be back.
It always returns.
I love like the weird branding of like how brands just like attach themselves to like sweatbands and like beanies and stuff. For the longest time when I was underage and my brother was like going out every weekend, he'd come back with just like random alcohol merchandise all the time.
Oh yeah.
So imagine like little 15-year-old me in like a Jägermeister beanie with like Jägermeister sweatbands, just like kitted out in stuff that I had no interest in at the time. But I'm like, oh, my brother gave it to me and it's free. This is mad.
He's just covered head to toe in Jägermeister drip.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, to be fair, the Jägermeister logo is actually a pretty sick looking logo compared to like some of the other ones. I like the deer. It's the deer, isn't it?
It's true. That's true. The weirdest one I got recently is I went to the chemist and bought, I think, like some Panadol, and they gave me a Betadine beanie. And it was just like a plain beanie with the Betadine logo on it. And it was just like, why? I mean, I respect Betadine's hustle, and I use the product, but I'm not going to wear that in public.
During these times, you need to wear that beanie, Damien. You got to say, hey, I like disinfectant, guys, all right? I'm a disinfectant dude.
I take my health seriously.
Don't worry about me. No coronavirus for me. I am disinfected with Benadine. And I've also got that weird yellow tinge stain all over my body.
I'm not the Betadine. I'm the Alpha Dean. You understand that?
Okay, so this person here.
Omega Dean.
Let's try and get back to the question. What would you have done in this situation, or